Trump panics big time. Take a listen at this video. Very interesting, very important to understand the whole situation going on right now between United States and Iran in terms of all the negotiation and all that. But before I play the video, not subscribe to my channel, consider subscribing. Take a listen. This is very, very important.
Wow, despite talking a big game, Donald Trump has instantly folded at the outset of these negotiations with Iran in Islamabad. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and the entire Trump regime were posting earlier on social media that they're not going to give up their own interpretation of the 10-point plan. And then the Iranian negotiators, their leader of the parliament, MB Ghalibaf, and their foreign minister, Araghchi, like, okay, well, then we're not going to show up to Islamabad, and we're just going to leave J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner alone there in Pakistan. So see you later. And then the Trump regime was like, okay, we'll give you what you want. What do you want? And then Iran posted on social media, we got exactly what we wanted already. And that seems that it means a lot of money has already been paid by the United States to Iran, potentially billions.
So Iran was paid by US billions of dollars, and I will play the video so you know exactly the amount. But here is another point. Donald Trump not only agreed to, looks like, according to this video, to pay Iran a lot of money, but also he agreed that he's going to put a leash on the Zionist entity, fake state of Israel, and not attack Lebanon, because that was a big problem with Iran and its negotiation, that Israel was still committing genocide, mass slaughtering civilians, innocent people in Lebanon. When Iran said, if you want to get a deal, a ceasefire deal with us, Donald Trump, you better act and you stop Israel from slaughtering the people of Lebanon. So it looks like Donald Trump agreed to that, and now we are learning from this Midas Touch video that Donald Trump also wanted to, or he had already paid billions of dollars.
Billions and billions and billions of dollars. You know how Donald Trump and his regime attacked former President Obama, who actually entered into a solid deal with Iran. And they said he brought cash loads on an airplane, it seems. And again, I don't know for a fact, but let me show you what I'm basing my knowledge on, that the Trump regime may have already made a significant payment to Iran. I can't say that for a fact. I always want to be very clear here, but let's show you what went down already. MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader, who's one of the main negotiators in Islamabad, he posted the following before the Iranian delegation arrived in Islamabad. He writes, two of the measures mutually agreed upon between the parties have yet to be implemented. One, a ceasefire in Lebanon and the release of Iran's blocked assets prior to the commencement of negotiations. These two matters must be fulfilled before negotiations start. Number one, ceasefire in Lebanon. Remember, Trump was saying Lebanon's not included, and J.D. Vance yesterday was like, oh, Ghalibaf doesn't know English well because we never said that Lebanon was involved in the ceasefire. And Ghalibaf was like, yeah, you're going there? Okay, then we're not showing up. And it seems that the Trump regime finally got Netanyahu, at least temporarily, to say no more strikes on Lebanon. Then number two, you see it says Iran's blocked assets prior to the commencement of negotiations must be released back to Iran. I mean, that number, I think, is closer to $8 to $10 billion. It may even be.
Wow. $8 to $10 billion. I mean, I would definitely believe this story simply because if you do not remember, Scott Bessent, I think his name, the Treasury Secretary, he made an announcement a few days ago. And he said that all the oil that are leaving Iranian ports will be unsanctioned. Remember, Iran is under sanction. They cannot export oil without going through that hurdle of sanctions. But he said no sanction for Iran. If that can happen, if Iran can export oil without any sanction, at least for the temporary period of time, then of course this is 100% convincible that they are also paying Iran a lot of money with this unfreezing of assets.
More than that. And so media was reporting earlier today, the Iranian negotiating delegation has been at Tehran airport for hours and has not yet departed for Pakistan. And the sticking point is around Lebanon. But also don't sleep on the payment to Iran. And then the Iranian social media accounts were saying, bully or not bully? That is the question. And then the Iranian social media accounts posted, the preconditions have been accepted. The preconditions have been accepted. What were the preconditions? Ceasefire in Lebanon and release of Iran's blocked assets. And Iran just posting that publicly, and there's no denial of that from the Trump regime. And then Ghalibaf arrived. We have video of Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Aragchi arriving in Pakistan. MB Ghalibaf posted this photo of himself on the Iranian airplane that arrived in Pakistan, and he writes, "My companions on this flight, hashtag Manab168, as the Trump regime committed war crimes and killed all the little girls in the Manab Elementary School." Also, New York Times reported about 23 other elementary schools were blown up by the United States and Israel already. Lots of hospitals as well. You see the delegation of the Islamic Republic of Iran, represented by Ghalibaf, Foreign Minister Aragchi, and others. They've arrived in Islamabad after the United States met those preconditions. And then Ghalibaf said the following: "In the upcoming negotiations, if the American side is ready for a real agreement and to grant the rights of the Iranian nation, they will see readiness for an agreement on our side as well. However, in the current conflict, we have shown them that if they intend to use negotiations as a futile show or a deceptive operation, we are prepared to secure our rights through faith in God and reliance on the capabilities of our nation. Unfortunately, our experience with negotiations with the Americans has always been accompanied by failure and breach of commitments. Twice within less than a year, in the middle of negotiations, despite the goodwill of the Iranian side, they attacked us and committed numerous war crimes. We have goodwill, but we do not have any trust." Now, some U.S. officials are saying that they are concerned that Iran could use this pause in fighting to rebuild parts of its missile arsenal, according to the Wall Street Journal.
We have now a report suggesting that China sent 4 cargo aircraft to Iran. A lot of people are saying that it could be that China is supplying Iran with a lot of missiles, air defense systems, who knows what else. But definitely, Iran is not just sitting idle, doing nothing about this whole situation, even though they are under ceasefire for the next 2 weeks. But Iran is prepared for the worst. That's the news we have, that China right now is helping directly to Iran.
Intelligence assesses that Iran still has thousands of ballistic missiles and could redeploy launchers from underground storage despite recent strikes. In other words, they still have most of their capabilities. They have their drones, their FPV and Shaheeds. They've got their ballistic missiles. They've got their unmanned vessels that can be shot at any of these ships that traverse the Strait of Hormuz without permission. And speaking about the Strait of Hormuz, only 2 ships transited the Strait of Hormuz today, according to data shared with NBC News by SPG Energy Oil, marking the lowest level since Trump announced a ceasefire with Iran earlier this week. Daily traffic before the war typically ranged between 130 and 160 vessels. Frankly, during the war, there would be about 8 to 10 vessels that were able to leave. And now we've seen maybe 1 or 2, and they're not tankers. They are cargo ships, Iranian flagged.
So basically, Donald Trump is not getting anything in return at the moment. He is not able to open the Strait of Hormuz. Instead, he's paying Iran. He's agreeing to all of the 10 points demands from Iran. It's a complete disaster, complete collapse. And Trump right now is in panic mode, as well as J.D. Vance. They are just scrambling. They do not know what to do next, because they have brought themselves into this quagmire that they see no way out. Thank you for joining. Subscribe for more videos.